Hi, this is Burns Hargis with another edition of Inside OSU, and today I'm in the Spear School of Business in front of the new Riata Center for Entrepreneurship. Amy and Malone Mitchell, two of our distinguished alumni, made a donation of $28.6 million to endow this School of Entrepreneurship. It's the largest endowment of any entrepreneurship program in the United States. To learn more about our School of Entrepreneurship, why we have it, and where we hope to go with it, I want to bring in the head of the Department of Entrepreneurship, Mike Morris. Mike, welcome.
Hi, Burns. Thank you.
So I know you had this program. You started the program at Syracuse University, and you've now come and have graced us with an opportunity to be a great in entrepreneurship. Why entrepreneurship? I mean, isn't that something that just happens?
Well, Burns, obviously we want to encourage young people to start new ventures, but more importantly, we want students to start to think and act in entrepreneurial ways.
Is there a way to put in a nutshell a definition of entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is about putting resources together in unique ways to take advantage of opportunity.
And you mentioned the fact that we want to go all across campus with this at every college. So you're saying it's important for people in fine arts, for agriculture, hotel and restaurant management, engineering, all of the disciplines that we have here on the Oklahoma State campus can be involved in entrepreneurial activity.
Right, and there's two sides to that. One side is certainly students in art and journalism and engineering may start ventures, but the more intriguing question is, how do you get an engineer to think of himself or herself as an entrepreneurial engineer, as an entrepreneurial journalist, as an entrepreneurial farmer?
It makes a lot of sense, because when I visit a lot of our successful alums, they don't have degrees from business. They have degrees in engineering and some of these other disciplines you mentioned.
Right, and some of the most exciting ideas for new ventures, both in the nonprofit and for-profit sector, come from all those other disciplines.
Describe the degrees that you've gotten started and are starting.
Well, we now have 27 courses in entrepreneurship, which is the most comprehensive curriculum in the country, we believe. And that translates into an undergraduate major in entrepreneurship, an undergraduate minor for non-business students, a minor for business students, an MBA concentration, and a PhD program in entrepreneurship.
Wow. And then there's the center, the Riata Center, where there's more of an applied or outreach of entrepreneurship to the community.
The center is the secret sauce in the whole thing, because the center is about outreach on the campus and in the community. That outreach not only creates ventures and touches the state of Oklahoma, but it creates the experiential learning opportunities that are connected back to the curriculum.
Well, that's great. Why don't we go inside and we can see a little more of this exciting new department and center. Come on in. Well, here I am inside the Riata Center for Entrepreneurship, and with me is Nola Miyasaki, who has come also from Syracuse to help us establish this very exciting center. Hello, Nola.
Hi, President Hargis. How are you?
I'm just great. Now, we talked to Mike Morris about the Department of Entrepreneurship, the kind of academic dimension, but the center is really different than that, isn't it?
Yes, well, really.
He called it the sauce on the program.
The sauce on the, well, the Riata Center, I call it Grand Central Station. It's really the nerve center for all our experiential learning and outreach programs. We target students across campus, entrepreneurs across the state of Oklahoma, across the country, and even in foreign countries.
So this is really the hands-on side of entrepreneurship. You learn about it in the department as an academic subject, but this is actually doing it.
That's exactly right.
What kind of, you mentioned a lot of places this can go, but what would be the outreach plans for the center?
Well, for example, we're now in the third week of our Cowboy Entrepreneurs Boot Camp, which is a 6-week Saturday morning session, and it's in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it's taught by all of our faculty in 6 modules over 6 weeks. And our MBA students and our undergraduates do consulting and market research for them. So that's an example of Oklahoma outreach. The delegates are actual entrepreneurs. We're 55 entrepreneurs who are trying to grow their businesses here, and we help them do that.
I know that you've embarked on this entrepreneurship for disabled veterans. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a fantastic program. We've got 35 disabled veterans coming here from the state of Oklahoma, Arkansas, New Mexico, Texas, all around our state as well. And they'll be here for 9 days of an intensive boot camp, if you will, to learn how to grow their businesses. And it's free of charge to all of them. It's being funded by donors and alumni of OSU. And we're just excited to be able to help them give back. We know that barriers to entry are harder for the disabled veterans, and we just want to help them get their businesses started.
Great, great. Well, we've got some students, as I said, that are involved in this, and let's go talk to them.
All right.
Well, here I am in the conference room of the Riata Center, and I'm with 4 students, obviously, that are very engaged in the activities here at the Riata Center. On my far right over here is Jamie Solberg, who's a sophomore from Preston, Minnesota, and is on the equestrian team, correct? Yeah. Great. And Jodie Navarre, who is from Katy, Texas, down by Houston. And you are a senior in entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
And you actually went to South Africa.
I did.
Which we'll talk about here in a minute. Over here on my far left is Brittany Keene. Brittany's from South Lake, Texas. And you're studying merchandising over in HES, I guess.
Yes.
Is that correct? And then Jessica Raulins, who's a freshman from Carrollton, and is actually, well, we'll talk to Jessica in just a minute, but she's doing something very interesting as well. Let me start with Jamie. Jamie, you won the so-called elevator speech.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that.
The idea behind it, I sell horses. I grew up on a horse farm and stuff. So my idea was to use the skills I learned through selling my own horses to sell other people's horses on a commission-based system. Because a lot of people don't know how to advertise through the internet and things like that. So I could just take it over and market their horse for them.
Great. We talked a little bit about the outreach programs that we have here at the center. Nola and Miyasaki was talking about the various ones, and Mitt brought up the South African trip that some of our students went on. Jodie, tell us about that.
The South Africa trip the goal of it is to help historically disadvantaged students or business owners.
So tell us what you did there. Give us an elevator speech.
Okay. We're teamed up with one other student from OSU and then a student from South Africa. And then we are teamed up with 2 clients, and our consulting company worked with 2 businesses. One was an office supply, and then another was a transportation business. They transported students to school, people from work and whatnot. And so we met with them twice a week, and we basically consulted with them. And so we were on our own, and we got to learn real businesses that were struggling or going further, doing better in their business.
How'd you like South Africa?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
it was great.
Beautiful there.
Yes, it's beautiful.
It really is. Brittany,
Yes.
Mike Morris earlier was talking about the fact that the School of Entrepreneurship is going to hopefully reach clear across campus to every discipline. And you're not in the business school, you're in HES studying merchandising, correct?
I am.
So how did you end up over here at the Riata Center?
Well, I felt that my merchandising degree was giving me the information and the knowledge to tap into my industry and get a job. But I want to, long time goal would be someday to own an apparel company. Well, I don't want to start a company, but I decided to take entrepreneurship courses because it would teach me to think creatively and to use the skills that entrepreneurs use every day to capitalize on opportunities, identify those, use resources, and just grow an industry.
Because of the fact that the center and the department just were established really in the last year, all of these students came to it later in their careers, but not you. Jessica,
No.
You're a freshman from Carrollton, right?
I am.
And you're actually, I understand, living in a dorm area that is made up of students from the Entrepreneurship School.
Yes, I'm in Booker Hall, but I'm also a part of the Entrepreneurship Living Learning Community, which plugged me into the Creative U class taught by Riata Nord, which actually takes place in our lobby on the 3rd floor every Tuesday evening.
Now, a lot of people say the advantage of the living learning communities is that you're around people that are doing the same thing you're doing, they're studying the same stuff you're studying, and you all have similar interests, and so natural friendships develop.
It is. It's very beneficial. My roommate and I are best friends, and we actually got plugged into the entrepreneurship living learning community together. And it helps a lot because in the class that we're taking, our groups are the people that we live next door to and I live in the same room with. So it's very beneficial.
We've been talking about studying it in South Africa and in living learning communities and lots of other places. Now let's go talk to a couple of students who are actually doing it, have actually begun their business. I'm sitting here with Ray Grandoit, who is a junior in entrepreneurship. Good to see you, Ray.
Nice to see you, President Hargis.
I've been told that you actually have started your own business and you're using these entrepreneurial principles to advance it. Is that right?
That's right. One thing with entrepreneurship, you need a lot of passion. It's one thing I do have, but one thing that's important, you actually need a plan. Like Nola said, here at Riata Center is the Grand Central, and what not best to have me, Ray Grand, here and actually use the business plan and certain things to move forward. So.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your business.
My business, I have a clothing line with T-shirts and different products. It's an online, web-based company, and
like I see it right here. It's Ray Grand Apparel.
Ray Grand Apparel. We have a website, raygrand.com, and Ray Grand stands for royalty as you gain respect and numerous dollars, and it's pretty much a grand theme.
Well, that's fantastic. How much did one of your shirts cost?
$28.
I'll take one.
All right.
I want it in orange.
You got it.
Okay, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now let's talk to another student that has his own business. Well, now I'm over here in the business place of Shoaib Sheikh, who has a very interesting business. He's just graduated with an MBA. He's originally from Mumbai, correct?
That's correct.
Good to see you.
Always.
Good to be in your business. Tell us about your business, Shoaib.
The business is called Explosive LLC, and we make sensors that detect explosive compounds. Essentially, we have an ink that changes from dark blue to yellow when it comes in contact with an improvised explosive compound. We also make sensors that can detect peroxides in organic solvents, essentially a solution to the problem of explosions in labs.
So who are the scientists that came up with this, this sensor?
Dr. Alan Applet and Dr. Nick Matrer. Both of these guys are professors at the Department of Chemistry.
How is the Riata Center helping you in this business?
Well, Riata Center, the inception of it, and it being here is the reason why I'm talking to you today. If this hadn't been here, we probably would have lost over the last 5 months. Like I said, I lost 2 partners through this period, and without having the resources and access to resources, money is a secondary thing, except motivation, mentoring, the insight. The knowledge that you need to be successful as an entrepreneur. That's what you receive from this Riata Center.
Well, it sounds to me like you're going to be very successful. Well, as you can see, this is a very exciting place. The Department of Entrepreneurship and the center, the Riata Center, are going to change lives in a lot of ways, and they're going to change this place fundamentally. So we're very excited about this program, and we hope that you will come by and check this out and be an entrepreneur yourself. Well, that's another edition of Inside OSU. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll see you next time. Now, Shoaib, how can I get part of this deal?